Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How's it going?
Good, very good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you. You look like you're all ready to jump right in.
I am.
I am too. Let's do it. I have a brief
All right.
introduction and then we'll get started. For the folks out in Zoom land, good evening. Welcome to the Hartsdale Neighbors Association School Board Candidate Interviews. I am Samantha Ives. I am the chair of the Education Committee of the HNA. In a brief moment, I will be meeting with Sarah Lazzari, who's running for the school board. Briefly, HNA is a group of passionate volunteers who foster neighborhood engagement, community-based problem solving. We enhance civic awareness and provide a vehicle for interaction on community-based efforts, which brings us to this evening. There are 7 candidates. The same questions are asked of each candidate. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer the questions. And if Ms. Lazzari is ready, we can get started. Any questions for you? Okay, great. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. Please start by telling us a little bit about yourself and please tell us why you're running for school board.
Yes, hi. I'm Sarah Lazzari. I am a resident of Hartsdale for the past 6 years. I live with my husband and 2 young children, ages 6 and 3, and I am a higher education professional. I've worked in admissions as well as academic advising on the undergraduate and graduate levels. And I have a master's degree in higher education and student affairs from NYU. I first became involved at GCSD in about 2 years ago. I co-founded the Early Childhood Program, PTA, in the fall of 2019, the same time that my daughter began in the program. I continued that PTA work this year as the Lee F. Jackson PTA membership chair. And I am also on the Community Engagement Committee, as well as a founding member of Friends of Greenberg Schools. Now, this fall was a bit of a challenge for my daughter and the hybrid model, as I'm sure it was for a lot of young kids. So we did make the decision to change to a private school after the winter break. But during that time, over the past few months, I have remained active on all of my GCSD committees. My passion for GCSD remains strong, and we do intend to be part of the system again very soon. Some of my other volunteer work has included being on the Hitchcock Nursery School board. We were navigating the challenges of COVID-19 over the past year, which was interesting to say the least. I am vice president of the Windsor Park Civic Association, where I work really hard to bring town news as well as GCSD news to our neighbors. And I am also committed to my alma mater, Barnard College, where I've served on various committees and am vice president of my graduating class as well. I am running for the GCSD school board because I really want to grow and strengthen the GCSD community. I think we have a great community, and I think there's a lot we can do to kind of get more people to buy in with us. I bring a fresh perspective to the board. I have lots of ideas, and I really think that open communication is kind of the way that we can sort of get there and improve our school district. And I'm the one to help get us there.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Our second question is a 2-part. First part is, in what ways do you think our district is succeeding? And secondly, in what ways do you think we need improvement?
Well, I think, there's a lot of good things happening at Greenberg Central School District. I would say sort of my number one is that I really feel like all children here feel valued and special. And I think that is so important. We have a really diverse district, and everyone wants to feel valued. I think in large part that's due to our amazing teachers and staff who really sort of put that out there for everyone. Something else that I think is wonderful is our new IB curriculum that goes all the way from pre-K to 12th grade. I think it really sort of keeps everything sort of on the same trajectory. I think it's a global model that is forward thinking. And I know from the college perspective that, admissions offices look highly on IB courses and IB diplomas. So I think those are great. As far as things that we need to work on, definitely I mentioned before, communication. I think open communication can start at the board level and sort of trickle down. There's a lot more we can do to openly communicate with the superintendent, with parents and families, with students, and with community members. I really think that that's key to sort of getting GCSD into the hearts and minds of our community, is through this communication. And there's several ways we could do it. One, I think the board can have a social media presence. I think that would really help get the word out there. I think we could increase the time that we're giving community members to speak at board meetings. I think things like if someone who speaks Spanish wants to come speak at a board meeting, if we know in advance, maybe we can have an interpreter present. Anything we can do to sort of get more people involved, openly communicate with them and really listen, I think is really important. I also very quickly want to improve our academics for sure. I think it's hard the way we're on the Princeton plan with so many different schools. Kids can get a little lost sometimes. It's tricky to sort of keep families in the system when you're constantly switching schools, principals. So I think streamlining that curriculum even more will help, along with the open communication piece. We really want to make sure our students are ready for postgraduate life as well, no matter what form that takes. And last, definitely infrastructure improvements. Our facilities have not been improved for decades, and it's time to work on that.
Yeah, thank you. The dog's going crazy, so I apologize if that comes through. It's life. What are your expectations for our new superintendent in their first year?
Well, I think this is a really exciting time for a new superintendent to be coming. It's an exciting time if I'm, elected to the board. It's a great time to start because we can sort of start everything fresh. I think with Dr. Iverson hopefully coming in very soon, I would expect that she would kind of go on a listening tour and speak with everyone on the board, listen to everyone on the board, talk to all of the assistant superintendents, talk to the principals, the teachers, the parents, the families, the community members. I think there's a lot you can do when you first get here to sort of embed yourself in the community and make it known that you're here to listen, you're here for everyone, you're here for the good of the children. And I think I remember Dr. Iverson saying that she typically lives in the community where she works, which I think could be really great because then you really are a part of Greenberg along with the rest of us. And as far as things she would do this year, I wouldn't expect there to be any big program changes in the first year. I think that's more of a time for learning, listening, and sort of figuring out what works and what maybe could use improvements. And then she would come work with the board, work with the other assistant superintendents to, throw out ideas, things that she's done in the past that have been successful with student groups that are similar.
Great, thank you. Your next question, can you tell me about a time that you have had a positive influence on a board meeting, committee meeting, community forum, your choice?
Yes, so back when I first started the early childhood education program with my daughter, it was newly full day, and we soon discovered that there were some problems with the full day rollout. We learned that the teachers didn't have all the supplies they needed at the beginning of the year, toys, technology, all kinds of different things. We also learned that there was no playground for the students the ECP students at Lee F. Jackson because their regular playground equipment was too big. And so the ECP students didn't have anywhere to play outside or anything to do. We were also heard that maybe class sizes could get bigger, and also that there were a couple of times of day when the students may not have had two people in the classroom, two adults watching them. So I was really concerned about this. I talked to other parents who were also concerned. And all of a sudden I started emailing, talking to everyone in my child's classroom, as well as other class parents, and using any list that I had to sort of rally everyone to get together and go to the next board work session. And I'd say we ended up having about 15 people come to the work session, which, if you've ever been to one, is a lot of parents for one topic to go to a work session. And we definitely got the administration's attention and the board's attention. And after that, I would say the classrooms did get their supplies that they needed. The classes stayed at the class size that was promised. And I kept up on that all year, just double checking. And they hired lunch monitors to help address the the times in the classroom when there perhaps were not two adults before. So that got a little better. And for the playground, they got some more equipment, but to actually get a playground was a much longer process. So that was something that I, and also as the PTA, we sort of kept after for the entire year going into this year. And we were very pleased to see that there was money put into the budget for this year for a playground. And about a month ago, they broke ground on a new playground. So it was a wonderful experience with a very happy ending.
Yay. That was my son's ECP year too. So thank you for all of your work. And the kids in every school are loving their new playgrounds. I know my daughter is thrilled with hers at Highview. So that is it.
Very true.
Yeah. What is your greatest strength as a leader, and where are areas that you think you need to improve?
Well, I think for me, I would say communication is my strongest area. I'm comfortable talking to all sorts of people. I am a good speaker. I am a strong writer. And I really listen. I want to hear what people have to say. I like to hear their stories. If you and I have a conversation, I'm still thinking about it later, hours later, maybe days later. If it's a really big conversation, weeks later. I'm thinking about how I can help, what I can do, how you're feeling, just kind of looking for solutions. So I think that is, my strength as a leader and something that I could bring to the board. As far as something to improve, I would say that, sometimes I get myself into too many things. I'm spread a little too thin. I have a lot of areas of interest, and, it can be tough sometimes to give as much as you want. I think the way the board structures themselves actually works really well for this. I know that each board member sort of concentrates on roughly 3 committees. So you're putting a lot of time and energy into those committees. And then the other ones, you're sort of getting the high level experience from hearing the minutes, hearing the recommendations, and sort of asking questions and going from there. So I think you're doing your main work, your committee work, and then you're hearing all this other all the other information you need to know kind of distilled down for you. So I think that is actually a really good sort of solution for me.
You think you'll be able to work well in that structure?
Exactly.
Got it. Moving on, slight change of topic. The budget for next year has already been pulled together. It's ready for community approval. We really hope that everyone will go out on May 18th and vote yes for the budget. Now, looking forward to the next budget cycle, what do you see as your top 3 budget priorities?
Well, I think number one, we have to go with infrastructure. I am, excited to see that phase one is in this year's budget and will hopefully be going through. A lot of that is ventilation work, which is badly needed, and would have been great if it was done last year, but I'm happy to see it happening now. But I think going forward, we need to look at our phase two. When are we going to do that? We need to work with our architects to determine a plan, and not only phase two, what about phase three, phase four? We need short-term and long-term plans for our infrastructure needs. And we also need sort of like plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, for when life inevitably doesn't go the way we want it to. But we really, really need to have that as a top priority going forward, because our buildings can't take much more. So we really need to get working on that. I would say another area for me would be instruction and instructional support. I really want to make sure that the teachers have the teaching assistance that they need. That makes a better learning experience for all of our kids. I want to make sure that the teachers not only have the supplies they need in the classroom, but that we have the programs we need, that we have tutoring, that we have test prep for the older students, that we have field trips, that we have clubs and sports, that all of that is in there so that we can sort of appeal to a lot of different students and sort of make them have this wonderful GCSD experience. The last point I think that we really need to focus on is technology. We've seen in the past year just how important technology is. We were really lucky that we had a one-to-one device program for many of our students already. And luckily we're able to purchase them for the younger students for this year as well. But I think going forward, we need to make sure that we're maintaining that we're upgrading the devices, replacing them as needed. And I would also like to see more money put into the website, as well as like an email listserv. I think those two things can really serve to, again, sort of bring GCSD out to our larger community and, really get that open communication going.
Great. Thank you. We are already at our final question. Thank you so much for being so concise. We're flying through. This is, again, changing directions slightly, but I'll give you full time to answer. Anyone interested to learn more about you may turn to a Google search. It's the world we live in. So if someone looks you up online, would you tell us, please, what are they likely to find? And then in your own words, would you please explain anything you would like to know, anything you would like them to know about you? Can you give us a fuller picture of your online snapshot?
This is a great question. And I took the time to Google myself when I saw this question. And so when I Google Sarah Lazzari, the first thing that's me that comes up is a LOHUD article that was written in the fall about first-time poll workers. So I was interviewed because I was a first-time poll worker. And, that was something that I really felt compelled to do this year. I felt very civically engaged and like I needed to take action. And so that was just one of the things that I did. I was actually over at Woodlands working the polls on the day, and it was something I wanted to do because I knew that all the normal poll workers, not all of them would feel comfortable working this year. And I knew that, luckily I was at a relatively low risk of COVID complications. And I really felt like this was something where I could step up. So that was a really positive, enriching experience to have this fall. Also with Googling, I also Googled, if you include my maiden name in there, it's Sarah Bolger Lazzari. So you get a whole different thing. LinkedIn comes up first. And on my LinkedIn, it actually says actress first. And that is because for 6 years after college, I was in the entertainment industry. I was acting and working as a commercial casting director. That was a lot of fun. I still keep up with my professional affiliations, my professional union dues. So that's why it's listed as current. I'm not currently pursuing anything in that arena. But I think the skills that I learned by doing that can, really played into my higher education career and now could sort of play into being a board member. I learned to speak with all types of people. I learned to respond quickly, respond creatively, to be flexible, to give and receive feedback, and really just to listen and respond as a, caring human being to other people. So I just wanted to close and say, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you will come out on May 18th and vote for me, Sarah Lazzari.
Great. We are so glad to have you. Thank you so much for taking the time. We wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice night. Bye-bye.
You too.